Back to the original goal today, which is to get stronger. Yesterday was hypertrophy work, today is strength work. I will also be sharing my thoughts on why you might be beating yourself up a little bit too much and how you can fix that. So stick around if you want to feel a little bit better about yourself and if you want to get stronger. I will show you how to do both those things. Today's focus is rows, deadlifts, and bench press. I will be going heavy on the rows and the deadlift, a little bit lighter on the bench press. I have plateaued on my bench press PR, so I'm trying to increase the volume that I'm doing on a weekly basis. So we'll knock out the rows first. Alright, well that was technically a new PR on rows. That was 215. That was definitely pretty easy. I could go heavier, but I'm not really going to today. That was a good limit tester to see what I want to do with my 3 sets of 3 and 2 sets of 6 to 10. So when I first started doing rows, I would have a lot more of a bent knee position, and I felt like it was too easy to not feel it in my back. If I were in that position, I would start transitioning into the shoulders. So something that made a big difference for me was to think of it as a stiff-legged deadlift first, or an RDL, so not bending the knees as much and just hinging into a more comfortable position. And then you can lock that in more easily, and you also feel it in the back. So if you feel like you're struggling with rows, that's something that helped me. With that more bent knee row position, I was constantly hitting my knees too. So doing that stiff-legged deadlift instead really helped me prevent myself from doing that. So if you're someone that is constantly beating yourself up because you aren't where you want to be or you aren't where you feel you should be, here's something I want you to remember and internalize. Effort is success within itself. So let me explain what that means. We as a society tend to measure success based off an end game. It's whether you reach a certain career mile marker or a certain amount of money or a certain amount of achievements within athletics, whatever it may be. But I don't think that's a smart way to look at it. Achieving a specific thing is not necessarily a guarantee. If you're a fan of basketball at all, then you probably know who Grant Hill is. And when Grant Hill went to the NBA after coming out of Duke at college, he was looking like he had potential to be one of the greatest of all time, and then he just started having injury after injury, and it wasn't anything that made him retire early, but it clearly limited his ceiling. You know, what if you're opening shops in a city and you have 3 locations and all of a sudden a tornado or a hurricane hits and it wipes out everything that you worked for the last 5 years? There are just things that happen that are outside of your control sometimes. So why would it make sense to attach your joy and purpose in life to an end goal instead of making the joy come from the effort that you put into it and the purpose of why you're doing what you're doing? We have a tendency to get attached to outcomes like money, and what's the reason for that? It's so you can fulfill an internal desire or need. You might be seeking money because you hate being broke because you can't find a comfortable place that you want to be for you or your family. Or maybe you just have a strong desire to want to be able to enjoy your life to the maximum and you need money to do that. So it's not necessarily money that you're going after, it's the feeling that you think money is going to provide for you. What if you can have that feeling before you actually get that desired outcome? What if you can have that feeling throughout the entire process of working towards that goal? If you're working towards something that you feel is worthwhile, then you've already succeeded, you're already winning. I think some proof of that is looking at the super successful people within their industries. Why did Arnold Schwarzenegger not stop after one trophy? Why did Michael Jordan not stop after one championship? Why do super rich billionaires not stop making money? It's not because they're necessarily trying to reach a certain amount of money. It's because they enjoy the process of entrepreneurship, or they enjoy the process of getting better at basketball or getting stronger and looking better. You know, I think the super successful people out there, or even just the successful people out there, fall in love with the process of it, and then they just put their head down and just grind and just try and get better and better every day. And I think if you do that for long enough, eventually you just wake up and you find something that you didn't realize you were capable of doing. So don't get attached to a specific outcome. Get attached to just making every day a little bit better than the last, at getting better and better at what you're trying to do. And I truly believe that if you just focus on getting better every day, eventually you are going to wake up and you are going to find that you've created something that you didn't even realize you were capable of doing. And it might not even be something that you originally set out to do. You know, I dream of 1 million subscribers on this YouTube channel, but who knows what kind of opportunities that this can open up for me. I plan on doing this for 10 years if that's what it takes. I hope that YouTube is still relevant in that time. I kind of think it will be, but who knows with technology these days. But either way, I'm just doing this to do something, to create an opportunity to try and better my life and better my family's life, and I think that's something that we all dream of. So don't get attached to the outcome, get attached to the process and just see what happens. Another benefit of doing those stiff-legged rows instead of more bent-over rows is because it kind of helps engage the hamstrings a little bit more. So I like to warm up, or not necessarily, well, not warm up, but start with the rows to kind of warm up those hamstrings a little bit more, and before I get into the deadlifts. My head will be cut off at the top of these deadlifts because I am more focused in watching my lower body and seeing how my form is when I go back and edit this. I have a feeling that I tend to twist in a lot of my exercises, so that's what I'm trying to look out for. I get so fascinated by the sumo versus conventional deadlift debate. I think it's so stupid unless you're actually powerlifting, because sumo does definitely give you an unfair advantage if you're, well, not even necessarily unfair, it gives you an advantage if you are in some sort of competition. But you know, if you can do so in a competition, if you can do sumo in a competition, why wouldn't you just do that if it does give you an advantage? But for us casual lifters, I think it's really stupid that people judge sumo and think that it's a stupid lift or whatever. All I care about is moving as much weight as I can in a way that is comfortable and in a way that doesn't injure me. I'm just trying to get to the 1,000-pound club, and if it's easier for me to do that sumo, then I'm just going to do sumo. I don't care. I just think it's funny. So a big focus of mine right now while making these videos is just trying to be more confident in what I'm trying to say, because I do believe the things that I'm saying, so why not confidently say that to you? But sometimes I forget to breathe. Like, I'm just trying to speak and do it in a way that sounds convincing, and I forget to breathe, and it reminds me of Chocolate Rain, a YouTube original. I swear that video is probably 20 years old. You probably know what it is. But if you are younger and you haven't seen Chocolate Rain, then definitely stop watching this right now. Go watch Chocolate Rain. Just YouTube it. It's hilarious. But in the video, he's singing a song and he moves away from the mic every time he takes a breath. So I guess it's something that really irritated him when he was recording a song. But I don't know why it makes me think of that. I just feel like I need to breathe, but I'm not. And I should do it in a way that's not huffing and puffing in front of you. So I guess I have more in common with Mr. Chocolate Rain than I ever knew. Alright, this is all the weight I have on the bar right now. This is 383 pounds or something like that. I have lifted this before, but I swear it's gotten heavier each week that I try and lift it. So I'm hoping that's not the case today. I just haven't bought new plates yet to try and go for a new PR on this, but I'm just trying to get better at this one first, because I do feel like this is really close to my PR. I probably might not even be able to do 10 more pounds on this. So hopefully it's a little smoother today. Yeah, that felt good, definitely smoother. I don't think I struggled with it as much as I have. I have to reconvince myself every time I do this one that I am capable of doing it, and no, I'm not gonna destroy my lower back when I do it, but it still makes me a little nervous every time. Friendly reminder here, if you haven't watched a video of mine before, and good chance you probably haven't, and if you are still watching, I appreciate that, thank you. But the workout is in the description below, and you want to make sure on these 3 sets of 3s that you're trying to do these as explosive as possible, because these are the ones that you really build up the extra strength on. to further expand upon not beating yourself up and attaching yourself to the process and not the outcome. I grew up very religious, and when I was about 18 or 19, my parents left the church, and it caused me to leave the church as well because they just started saying things that made sense. But it did leave a big hole in my life. It's weird to go from feeling like you have all the answers and you know exactly what you're doing not only in this life but in the next life as well, to going to not having any clue what you're supposed to do or what the meaning of anything is, or if there even is another life after this. I'm not religious. I haven't found anything religious to replace that void. But what I did find to replace that, in a sense, was just progressing towards something, just having a purpose, no matter how small it is, something that you get excited about, something that you feel like you're working towards that's bigger than yourself. One thing for me initially that helped get me out of my funk that I spent pretty much my whole 20s in, because I just had no direction, no idea what I was doing, it was just feeling like I didn't have to work until I was 65 and retire, to realize all because you saw your dad going to work and working 10-hour days up until he ended up getting divorced from my mom and being broke. It just left me feeling like, what's the point of working or doing anything if I'm just going to spend decades doing something to be broke? So figuring out that now I can actually invest and put money aside, and even working a job where I'm not making that much money, I'm a blue-collar worker, I still have an opportunity to retire in my early 40s if that's something that I want to do. And obviously if these YouTube videos take me in a certain direction, then maybe I can retire or do whatever I want to do even earlier than that. So the first thing was really financial. That really brought a lot of joy and purpose into my life, was just feeling like, hey, I can climb out of the hole that I kind of dug myself into, figuratively speaking. And then I reached a point where that wasn't quite as fulfilling anymore. You know, the idea of retiring at 50 still felt like a really long way away. So the next thing to do was to figure out, okay, what can I do that I enjoy that could possibly make it to where I can retire earlier than that? And while I do genuinely believe that something special will happen if you work at something long enough while improving at it, there's no guarantee of that. You know, I could die in a week, I could die in 30 minutes, who knows? Life is short. But what I do know is working towards something with a purpose is fulfilling, and if you don't have that, then you should find it. And you can find it. Do not give up. Do not quit. Just keep taking one baby step at a time. Keep crawling if that's all that you can do. This might be a little bit of a controversial thing to say, but Linkin Park is still really big, but was especially big as I was growing up. And people love Chester. He was the former lead singer of Linkin Park, but he killed himself, I don't even know how long ago it's been now, maybe 8-10 years ago. It's been a while, but he is almost regarded as a hero, it seems like, at least based off of the comments that I'm reading. And I find that whole situation sad, obviously. Anytime someone takes their life, it is sad, and I do sympathize with them, but I especially sympathize with the family and the kids, because I forgot what the statistic is, but if you commit suicide and you have children, it's far more likely that your children are going to commit suicide too. He did it at a time when his kids, I think, were under 10 years old. So I really hope that his kids don't follow in his footsteps. I just hate it because Chester quit. Like, I get that he battled with depression for years and years and years, but he just gave up. You know, he created a life with his family, and he abandoned the people that relied upon him because he just couldn't take it anymore. So when I say don't quit, just don't. You can find a way out. I truly believe that, and it might take a really, really long time. But again, as a non-religious person, I have no idea if there's anything after this. This could just be it. And I know life can be miserable and it feels like it's nothing but pain, but to me, it's better than the alternative of nothing. I'd rather feel something than nothing, and for all I know, that's all there is after this. I also don't know if I will be able to get away with saying the S word where you yourself. Since I'm new with YouTube, I don't know if this will pass the check process of YouTube. I don't know. I might have to go back and edit that out. But I was just talking. I don't know. I'm still new to this. Oh, grip strength training. Oh. My grip sucks. If yours does too, then just hold that last deadlift rep as long as you can. So I've plateaued pretty hard on bench press. I've been stuck at a PR of 263 pounds for a few weeks now. So I'm going a little bit heavier on these 3x3s. I'm not doing the 1x1 today just because I already kind of know that I'm just upping the volume and not necessarily testing my PR every single time I do bench like I was before. But I want to try and make these 3x3s as explosive as I can. I am still doing it with a pause at the bottom though, because the part that I keep getting stuck on is about 6 to 10 inches off my chest when I'm trying to do my PR. So I want that pause at the bottom to really be able to maximize that explosiveness coming out of it instead of cheating and bouncing it off my vest. Wow, I'm not wearing a vest. I meant my chest. So, funny story about today. It is Sunday and I do struggle with energy occasionally. During the week, I don't mind being a little bit low energy, just coasting through work, doing what I need to do. But on the weekend, I want to feel good. I want to have a good time. Who doesn't want to feel that way? So I have a tendency to drink an Alani, an energy drink, before I take my pre-workout to do my workouts and my videos. So I normally do a pretty good job at spacing them out, just taking sips throughout the day on both of them. But today, I did a good job on the Alani. When it came to the pre-workout, I did not do a good job. I chugged it, and I had maybe my first ever mini overdose on caffeine. I have never just kind of broken out into a full-on sweat because I drank too much caffeine. Got a little bit lightheaded, got a little bit dizzy, and I was just sweating for no reason. So I had to eat some food and drink some water, which helped a lot. But it wasn't a pleasant experience. Will I learn from it? Probably for a little bit. And then I'll be low energy again, and then just go get another energy drink. So yeah, don't caffeine overdose, please. Okay, so that is all I've got for you today. Something I want to leave you with is a quote that I heard from Alex Hormozi, a very successful entrepreneur. But he says, "Be content, but not satisfied." And I think that ties in really nicely to what I've been talking about today. You want to be happy with where you are and enjoying the process, but don't get rid of that itch to be better, to keep working towards something. And remember that effort within itself is success. You got this. See ya!